So some technology things for both activities. Paperlessdebate.com has become the universal system for debating paperlessly. And even if you're not going to let your kids debate off computers, it is the best way to create blocks, files. It's consistent, it's the same, it's easy to use. I think it's pretty amazing. I have become a big fan of this. And part of the reason I've become a big fan of this is because my district won't let kids stream video. I don't live in the Blue Valley, Olathe, bring your own device, watch whatever you want in class world. I live in a world where the technology people are the gatekeepers to everything. And so...
We have mechanical pencils.
Yeah, exactly. Every kid in my building has an iPad, but they can't watch YouTube on them, right? And so I figured out this summer that there are multiple add-ons to some browsers. Chrome, Firefox is the one that I think is the easiest to use. And if you find a video you want to let your kids watch, you can download that bad boy, convert it to an MP4, and hand it to them on a flash drive. And so I think that in Firefox the add-on is called Video Downloader, or Download Helper, maybe. But if you just type in like Firefox Video Download add-on, it'll show up. And so one of the things I did this summer is I was preparing for debate camp. The only athletic thing I like to do is ride a bicycle. And so while I was riding all summer, I had downloaded every camp video I could find. And I was listening to debate camp lectures that kids paid like, $5,000 to do. And I downloaded them and was listening to them on my bike. I'm going to use them flipping things in my classroom. So it's a pretty cool resource, actually. This one I added this morning when Max talked about it, called MailView. You go to this website, and it's all in. You go to the website, you punch the button, it lets you videotape yourself with your computer if it's got a camera, and it will record up to 10-minute video. And then it's all contained and you can email it to somebody.
And that's another source that is on the NSDA
Is it?
resource package.
Probably
It's
where you got
not MailView, but you can do a practice round or practice speeches, and it's sent to other people to critique.
To watch, yeah. These are ways to communicate with kids and parents. Remind 101 is a text-based one. I like it a lot. I don't mind giving kids my own cell number, but I've got assistant coaches who really don't like that. Remind 101, the kids go to the website, they put their number in, everybody gets a shared code. Once they're in, and I just go to Remind 101 and hit Mr. Tidwell's debate students and type the text message that I want to go to everybody. It's very educational based. Like if I send something after 10 o'clock, I get a little note that says, "Are you sure you want to do this? It's pretty late." Yes, I do. I'm in a hotel.
And that one has email for parents too.
Right, it does.
They want to sign up.
I like Remind 101 a lot. Actually, the guy that stuck his head in is one of our principals, taking his daughter on a tour today, and he was the one who brought that to us. It's very good.
I'm an Edmodo person,
Josh is too.
and I'm big Edmodo.
You can use it to communicate with kids and parents too.
Absolutely.
There's a
And
parent code, as a matter of fact.
Yes, and so all you have to do is provide your group code for debate or your group code for forensics, because I have two separate ones, because you don't always have the same kids in debate in forensics and
I
vice
understand.
versa. So those codes are given to the parents in the handbook that we give to every parent at parent meeting.
So this really
And you
goes
can
with
put
this.
Edmodo on your phone.
Yeah, there's an app for Android
App.
or iPhone.
Mhm.
This really goes with this. I have become a huge fan of videoing student performances, both in debate and forensics. My kids are going to do speech redos this year by video. Because I had a former student who's debating at K-State who kind of offhandedly mentioned last year that she thought that the assistant coaches were geniuses because they wouldn't watch redos. They made them video them. And she said, I practiced the redos harder to get it on the video than I ever would have practiced to do it for them because it was going to be permanent. And there is a trick to that. I violate KSHA rules. I have a former assistant coach who moved back to Oklahoma, and I'll have Jenny send me notes.
That's not violating, she's sending notes.
She sends the notes to me, not to the kids.
You're covering yourself.
Right, and so that's my story for Reg, wink, wink, smile, nod, nod. I've done a private YouTube channel, although increasingly, I mean, our kids all have iPads, and so it's easy just to go video that and put it in Dropbox or whatever, and we have access to it. Don't underestimate this. The value of a kid watching themselves and critiquing themselves
It's very
and
important.
doing that guided with you is immense. That's what we're talking about, the same thing. Debate evidence resources.
God bless you.
This is by far the
God bless you.
biggest thing, because everything from every debate camp that they get to send it in and some that just send it to them is there. One of the things that I think was brilliant about open evidence is that it pulled back that like Wizard of Oz veil. For years it was, oh, you go to Gonzaga for the evidence. The evidence is the quantity and the value, and what we've discovered is the Gonzaga evidence is just like the Baylor evidence. It's just like the mean grade. It's like literally down sometimes to the cards and the way they're underlined. And I will tell you that for any of these resources, you should probably talk to your kids about double checking their validity. I found evidence in NDCA from a big camp that was not real.
Well, and the other piece that you need to be watching for now are the changes in evidence, at least for district tournaments for debate,
Yes.
student congress, LD, and public
This would
forum.
be one of the.
And that's why any of the handbooks or even the open evidence file become real tricky, that you better be going back and making certain it's in the right format.
Planet Debate is a subscription-based thing, and they have, I think the value of Planet Debate is mostly that I can go there on Thursday and see what everybody else thinks the politics update is this week. That's what I use it for mostly. It's a very expensive resource if you buy it outright. Amazon Thursday file, also mostly political update, this kind of things. Traditional handbooks, there are more than these that are left. Communican, Pantone Media, Communican, and I forgot to do that. Baylor and Communican are the same, they're all the same thing. I mean, they're all one company, aren't they?
Rich Edwards owns it.
Big Sky out of Montana, I think is very user-friendly and very novice-friendly. West Coast is what West Coast has always been, it's consistent. And,
Paradigm.
Paradigm research is, used to be a huge thing. So, and there are others. I mean, there's one in-state.
Squirrel
We used to
Killers.
use a lot, Squirrel Killers. I've used it. for
Kill
years.
that squirrel.
Some debate teaching resource thing. Here's what I discovered trying to put this together for you. There are a lot of debate teaching resources out on the internet. A lot of debate teaching resources. You can, and some of them are terrible, and some of them are amazing.
You just described the internet. so-
That's true, you're right. That's absolutely. There's not as much internet forensics resource. In fact, the best forensics resources I can find are actually behind the password in NSDA.
There is a very good extemp one that Chris McDonald out of Egan High School in Minnesota has put together that is open. I think it's called extempprep.com, or is that correct? If not, type in extemp and Chris McDonald.
I think YouTube is, again, sometimes pretty wonderful and sometimes pretty awful. There is a new YouTube series, there's a channel actually, called Go Fight Win. I think it's going to show up on a slide in a minute. Go Fight Win Novice Debate. And it's a college debater who grew up in a program where she didn't have a debate coach who understood debate, and she decided she was going to help those programs. And if you don't want to do the filming for a flipped video class, My novices are gonna watch these videos next week as homework, some of them. They're like 15, 20 minutes long. They do a great job of introducing things. She's gonna use language that I might not use, and I don't mean like foul language, I mean, she just may try to go further with an explanation than I will in some cases, or not as far. I may have to come back and kind of clean up the way I want the kids to talk about things so we're consistent. But in terms of resources and discovery, those things are really, really helpful. And she actually plans to put some worksheet and testing resources, I think, up as she goes to. Debate KC has a YouTube channel, and I think that stuff is really good. I mean, I think that stuff is really good. Debate wikis, case lists, the debate, I think there's a reasonably good textbook to be found just in Wikipedia on debate, and I hate Wikipedia most of the time, but it's a pretty good resource if you're just not sure, or if you want kids to have an extra thing. There's a thing called Debate Central that is pretty good on economic issues, although it is pretty biased a little bit in one direction. And then, of course, paperlessdebate.com. Those are all things that are like debate teaching resources. There are about 6 or 7 really good state league websites and urban debate league, a lot of urban debate league things. And they're awesome because they have teaching resources and they have novice packets that you can literally just take and let novices start debating with. Michigan has a very good state website.
And so does Minnesota.
So does Minnesota. IDEA, which I think is becoming subsumed by NSDA. Debate Institute sites. Now, you have to hunt for these a little bit, but about 3-4 weeks into the summer, or a week or so after nationals, if you start looking for things, you can start finding things. Videos, lab stuff, things that are happening. I was amazed at the number of and kids are paying a lot of money to go to those, and they're just out there. Forensics teaching, this list is short. Again, that National Speech and Debate Association, I just think it's the best one for forensics. There's some stuff out on YouTube, but one of the things that happened when NSDA got pretty serious about building this resource package was anything that was a national, that came from a national tournament got pulled from YouTube. So that stuff's not, some of it's still out there hidden in places, but not nearly like, I mean, you used to be able to go in and type in Georgia duo finals and you can, not anymore, that stuff's all behind the password now. But there are, you can see examples of performances, you can see some teaching things. There are more internet resources for XSTEM than for any other event, without a doubt. Yes?
Have you ever tried Forensics Fanatics?
It's on my list, actually.
Okay, I got that one last year.
I think I have it in a different place. But. All right, forensics material resources, publishing houses, specifically the traditional things that we think of. Dramatists, Samuel French, PlayScripts Inc., Dramatic Publishing, Brooklyn Publishing, Baker's Plays, although I've never used Baker's Plays. I am a big fan of, I'm a bigger fan of dramatists than I am Sam French. I don't know why, but I'll use either one because if I'm looking for something, I'm looking for something.
And that's
Because their
why
catalog's better.
Drama Bookshop will have all of the
They'll have all of
publishers.
this. PlayScripts Inc., you'll get a different opinion about PlayScripts Inc. from any forensics coach you talk to. I like it a lot, but I'm willing to read a bunch of bad plays to find it. They all have a disclaimer in them that says you can't use more than a certain amount of this without being sued, but it's 10 minutes. Their limit is 10 minutes. You're fine, right?
And everybody knows the Neil Simon rule.
Oh yeah, don't do Neil Simon.
But why?
Neil,
Because
if
he
you
will-
cannot cut anything
he
of
will sue you
his,
for royalties.
he will sue you for life.
Lord.
Yes.
I had to use the F word in one of Neil Simon's plays.
He won't let you cut it.
You can't cut it.
Dramatists has got, they're developing an online search tool that's changing, and I like it a lot. Because I tend to be looking for something for two guys or two girls, or, that's dramatic or whatever. I think Amazon and Barnes & Noble are incredible resources because you can read synopsises, because you can search by category. I had my senior DI kid in my room yesterday, just going through Amazon and looking at biographies.
And I'm gonna tell you, I cut more from books
I do
and
too.
memoirs
I do too.
than I'm cutting from plays anymore.
I do too.
And part of it is because the lit base of a lot of the plays suck. And secondly,
It's a trend.
you may have some really good stuff going on in the play, and then when you get to the resolve, it's terrible. And you want to rewrite the ending yourself.
Speech Geek is an online warehouse of different things. Mushroom Cloud Press is there. The Blue, Purple, Green, that book series
Yeah.
is there.
Tibetan is there too.
So it's a reasonably good resource. I put Forensic Fanatics on here, and again, if you talk to multiple coaches, you're going to get very different opinions about Forensic Fanatics. Here's what I'm going to tell you about that. If you are starting a program, or you're a beginning teacher, and you walk in and there are no files, spend the money for level 2 access to Forensic Fanatics. There are 2 levels. It's not that it's like $150 or $200. Level 1 is you can look at what they have. Level 2 gives you access to the vault of cuttings. And what I've discovered about those cuttings is that A, they're almost all too long. B, some of them are cut pretty badly. But here's the thing. If you've got no files, and now you have a database that you can search online and print, it's a good place to start. It's a good file, and I buy the 1 level of access just to have access to the search thing. Because it's got a very good search interface, I think. Yeah, if you go over to database search, over in the top right-hand corner after you're logged in, and you can choose how many people, the sex, the topic area, the level of maturity. So, I mean, I'm not going to tell you that this is the be-all to end-all, but I'll tell you it'll get you started. All right, here's my list of mentor people who I talked to and said yes. All of these people know that I'm going to give you this list or show you this list. They all said they were willing to talk to people who needed help. And I tried to kind of tell you what their expertise level was. I tell you, there's not a person on that list that I haven't learned stuff from. There are some of those people that, well, there's not a person on that list that I haven't learned something. So I tried to do it so that there was somebody in every area. If you add this to the list of, like, I didn't contact Rena, but Rena is amazing. Rena Reberg Athens. So there you go. That's what I got, ladies and gentlemen. I will answer questions. I have a jump drive that has a file folder, or a folder with a whole lot of stuff on it. In fact, and I put trip sheets, I put sign-up sheets, I put medical cards, I put our team travel rules. I put, if I thought it would, it's like, I realized the other day as I was putting it together, it was like, if you know how like the story, what would you grab if you're running out of the house? If I had to leave Garden City and I couldn't take anything else with me, if I had those things, I could go start over somewhere, I think. So, what do you have for questions?
The only thing I was going to add is that, and again, it's not a plug for the NSDA, but it ends up sounding like that. They have an honor code, and I have to tell you that having that
That's good.
posted in my room has saved my rear end
You're
on
on it.
more than one
Where are you
occasion.
at?
23, 25.
Because kids are going to do stupid things, and you're not going to want to be able to, you know, and you can just say, this is
Give
what the
Pam a hand.
expectation was. Yeah,
Vanna White.
Thank you, Mrs. McCombs.
And that's posted in the room, and
It's posted in
we
mine.
talk about that all the time.
I actually put it in our travel manual, it's part of what everybody agrees to. So, questions that you might have?
Could you just give us your email address for those of us who
Absolutely.
don't have a computer here?
It is R Tidwell, Tidwell, at gckschools.com. And if that doesn't work, rtidwell@gmail.com. And if you, if you email me, actually, that's probably the simplest. If you email me, I'll just send you a Dropbox link or something for it. I do have it on a flash drive, and if you've got a flash drive here, I'm happy to jump it over to you. What else? Anything? I hope we said something today that was helpful, even if it was just don't give up and be willing to, dive in and go. I will say to you, that, all of you look to me like, some of you I know this is not your first rodeo. I know that a lot of you have been teaching. I will say this, it always encourages me to see new people. I'm not one of those people who looks at the new people every year and goes, oh my God. Okay, I might do that too. But I have very real concerns about our stuff becoming grouped into and included just as part of language arts universally. And because I think that what we do is different than pure language arts. And I think our training is different than pure language arts. And so I would just say thank you for being willing to dive in and have some part of doing this. It's important. We need to recruit our kids better than we do. It's hard to do that in Kansas right now in education, but we need to do it better than we do.
Just kind of relating to that last comment you made, the question I have is, what do you think are going to be the biggest challenges for new coaches kind of moving forward in the next 2, 5, 10 years, the way that the nature of the activity is changing, the way that the nature of schools are changing, of course, knowing that every district and every situation is probably going to be a little different, but
I think
there are, of course, some
I think
broad
it might be
similarities.
interesting to ask Melanie this question as opposed to me.
Sure, anybody.
I will tell you that I think in terms of debate, in the world I live in, the biggest challenge that's coming in debate is that we're down to, in Kansas, we're down to 5 programs west of Hayes.
Mhm.
So the challenge in my world is to have places to go.
That you
Yeah.
don't have to drive for hours.
Is that challenge possibly because the thing that's mostly focused on is policy debate? And it's not necessarily, in my opinion, the most fun.
Well, I think that and I'm talking entirely about, I'm talking entirely about policy. There are a lot of forensics programs.
Yeah.
Forensics is very healthy.
But do they run more than Lincoln Douglas out? in Washington?
There is no debate. When I say they don't do debate at all.
Even including public forum.
But that's what I'm saying, I think
There's no
that
public forum, there's no LD.
Sure.
Extemp is the closest.
if
that
Kansas
we
were to
exist.
expand their focus on debate from policy to include public forum or Lincoln Douglas, I think those are
It's a
more fun
possibility.
debate forums.
It's a possibility.
Sorry.
I think I don't know. But you're asking what I think. I think that's one of the challenges.
Yeah.
I think another challenge, I think a challenge going forward is, in the political climate we're in, is going to be whether the money exists to do the traveling.
Yeah.
I don't know about any of the rest of you, but this conference has gotten increasingly hard for me to get approved
Really?
every year. Because one of the places that you cut back first is out of district travel.
I fight for almost 2 weeks just with my principal, who is very supportive about who's gonna pay for my son.
Yeah.
I pay my own conference fees, I pay my own hotel, I pay my own meal, I do all that. And they're just like, yeah, but who's gonna pay for your stuff when you're gone? And I'm like, oh my gosh, that'd be great.
Another one of the challenges, at least in debate, I
I'm gonna be
think,
sick of it.
is how we're going to deal
Well-
with the newest version. And then that's always a deal.
Right, the
That's
trickle-down
always a
is a
deal.
very simple
The trickle down is always a deal.
Right.
Newest version of what?
Well, okay, so, in the 70s, the trickle down was the counter plan. And in the 90s, the trickle down was the critique. from college debate into high school debate.
Right.
Well, this new trickle down is very,
Performative, almost identity based.
it's identity, well, it's almost entirely
Right.
identity based, whether that identity is
Racial,
gender,
sexuality, whatever.
whatever. And so you have kids who, the idea is that the resolution is a metaphor as a jumping off place to talk about
So it's a
what's.
starting point to start about
The problem
real
is.
world racial inequalities, real world
Right,
disparities.
and so they stand up and tell their race, their
Sexuality and stuff like
racism
that.
stories, or their gender issue stories. And I think that's gonna be a challenge for us in debate, because I don't think that in a public high school setting,
That's the most appropriate.
people are gonna be particularly willing to just let kids say those things.
Right.
And I think it's gonna be a challenge for us to figure out how to deal with that. I think it's sometimes we're gonna end up, I mean, I just remember when the things happened with Bill Shanahan at Fort Hayes.
Right.
I had to go have a conversation with my AD then.
Yeah,
And for those of you who don't know what that's about, I can tell you that story later, but
there was a YouTube video up on.
in this, yes, there
I
was.
was sitting in the
Oh, it's
second
still
row.
up.
Oh, you were there?
I was in the second row that Brown and
Oh,
I think this is
my. That was
uniquely, I
crazy.
think this could be much more interesting and scary for us to have to explain to the general public than anything that's come before.
Especially with the backlash that's at the nationals last year.
Forensics, some of the same things. I mean, you know, I live in western Kansas, and it was a huge thing when I had two kids stand up last year and do the scene from the scene from the shadow box between an ex-wife and her former husband's Caleb. That was a huge thing. And we got some ballots that were very, very angry.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm
Um,
here in eastern Kansas. I've had a girl and her
And
piece
so-
was like, oh my God, I remember you from high school. And she got dinged because she said God.
Right.
And I was like, ooh.
Well, I had a kid who was fourth at state in prose 3 or 4 years ago, doing a piece that the name of it's a satire piece called the name of it's The Hell of Poop Warner.
Oh, yeah.
We had to change the name at a tournament to get it qualified.
Do you remember I got in trouble for saying orgasm?
I do. Do you know I didn't care? He was like, just keep it.
Right, well, see, and that's what I'm saying, is that you say, what are
But
the
we
issues
also didn't
that are
have a lot
coming?
of trouble with it because where we are geographically and the kind of tournaments.
It's much more
we go
liberal
to.
where you're at.
Well, yeah, it really is. And,
You can
but
get away
you're
with
gonna
a lot
get that
But come
occasional
20
person.
miles north.
Right.
It
It
is
depends-
not.
It depends on the size of school, it depends on the size of school, the judging pool. But I mean, I've been watching finals at NFL for the last 3 or 4, and NSDA for the last 5 or 6 years. And one of them, I mean, I was on the final panel this year for duo. One of the most interesting duos was, the theme of the duo was dealing with bias of a homosexual man toward an African-American woman and an African-American woman toward a homosexual man, and how those intersected with each other, and how they both believed that they weren't biased, but they were both incredibly biased.
Well, everyone's a little bit
Right?
racist.
And I thought that was an incredibly, and I'm a Baptist kid, so all of those things have been challenging. But I think those things, as we have parents watching around, I think that just defending what we do in terms of competition is going to be a challenge over the next 5 or 6 years, depending on how this political climate continues. You got to remember that one of the things that we're trying to teach kids to do is be creative and think.
Yeah.
And the political climate we live in, I don't think is particularly conducive. I got political there this year.
That's fair.
It happens.
I hope you have a job when you get there.
Yeah.
I didn't tweet it, so the
You
government
should be okay.
watching the tweet.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Ralph is standing out there like this. Let my people go.
No, you're fine. I was just going to tell you, if you're going to the retirement one, it's been moved to the main center
Okay.
room area.
So just
And, yeah, and the other one, the
I was gonna make
social media one, is
That
still in the
just
same
depends.
room, whatever room that may be.
Retirement one, it just depends, yeah.